slender like the awn of a paddy grain, yellow like gold in color, and in subtlety comparable to the minute atom. Tasya shikaya madhye paramatma vyavasthitaha sa brahma sa shiva sa hari sendra sokshara paramaswarat. Same Narayan Sutra tells that. In the middle of that flame, the Supreme Self dwells. This Atman, he is Brahma the creator, Shiva the destroyer, Hari the protector, Indra the ruler, the imperishable, the absolute, the autonomous being. Through deep meditation at the heart center, following spiritual disciplines, one realizes the Paramatman, the absolute reality. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, Ishvas sarvabhutanam hriddeshe svatishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rudani maya. Arjun, God dwells in the hearts of all beings, and by his maya revolves them all as if mounted in a machine. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, or he himself, Krishna, the localized super soul, sits in the heart directing the living being. After changing bodies, the living entity forgets his past deeds, but the super soul, as the knower of the past, present and future, remains the witness of all his activities. Therefore, all the activities of living entities are directed by the super soul. The living entity gets what it deserves and is carried by the material body which is created in the material energy under the direction of the super soul. As soon as the living entity is placed in a particular type of body, he has to work under the spell of that bodily situation. A person seated in a high-speed motor car goes faster than one seated in a slower car, though the living entities, the drivers, may be the same. Similarly, by the order of the Supreme Soul, material nature fashions a particular type of body to a particular type of living entity to work according to his past samskaras. Thus, living entity is not independent. One shouldn't think himself independent of the Supreme Godhead. The individual is always under his control. Therefore, his duty is to surrender. And that is the way to cross Maya. We are all under the jurisdiction of Maya. Once we have taken this form, any form for that matter, we come under the jurisdiction of Maya. You can't say, I don't care for Maya. If you behave that way, the Maya gives you more severe blows. So that's not the way. Not confronting the Maya. But you must try to sublimate. You must try to sublimate your ego. Never give room for rising of the ahankar. It is the ego that is responsible for all the destruction. We all suffer because of our ego. So, the last stumbling block in spiritual path is ego. You might have done lots of spiritual sadhanas, but if the ahankara is there, God doesn't tolerate. Anyway, you will see how your ego is crushed. So, if you are not behaving properly, God makes you to behave. That's the point. And there is a famous episode in the Bhagavad which comes, very famous. There was a very great king, very devoted. Every day he would worship God with all devotion and dedication. And he was really so. So he was slowly raising himself in spiritual stature. So not only the people of the kingdom recognized his greatness, even the gods of the heavens, they recognized him. Oh, he is a great person who is so well devoted and dedicated. So they would come and visit him. Gods would come to him without being prayed for them. They would come and just they would be happy to see him and talk to him, bless him. So the name spread like that. But everybody has to pass through some exam, before you get the final result. So there are many agencies to conduct the exam, not one agency. One of the Saptarishi, one of the rishis, Agastya Maharshi, he wanted to see himself, what kind of devotion he has got and how much he is revered by the gods. He himself wanted to see that. So he came to see him. At that point of time, the king was doing worship. It's all right, doing worship is wonderful. But it so happened worship was over. Worship was just concluded when Agastya Maharshi entered. So, naturally, what the king should have done, he should have got up immediately, received the rishi with all humility, give padya, arghya, etc., as the tradition demands, show him all the hospitality and treat him like that. That was the way, that was the tradition, spiritual tradition. A Mahatma comes, we have to invite him in a proper way. He can't be careless or indifferent or callous, no. So, probably had some weakness somehow. He didn't get up. He didn't get up from the seat. He behaved as if he is in meditation. Poor fellow does not know that Rishi will know everything. Agastya Maharshi came to know, what? I thought a person of great devotion and who has completely erased his ego, whose ego is merged in the divine. All gods and goddesses, they used to visit him. This is the way he is behaving. So, why should he behave like that? That means the trace of ahankar is there. I am a great devotee, etc. In a subtle way, in the most subtle way, which could be diagnosed only by the great rishi like Agastya Maharshi. So naturally, now the king has to pay a very high price. And Agastya Maharshi says, very good. So far you have done excellent spiritual practices. Nothing is wasted. You have got the merit. It is in store to save you further. Now, for this small fault which you have done, you have to take another birth. What type of birth? Not again as a human being. He has to be born as an elephant. Elephant. Boy elephant is called. Salaga they call. What do you call the male elephant? Do you have any word, particular word? Male elephant. Huh? Male elephant. Not she.
That's what we have.
She elephant is.
I know that. Don't eat two elephant. That's what I'm saying.
He elephant, I should say. He
Just
elephant.
elephant. She elephant. Why elephant? Sorry, Jal Lakshana.
No, because he elephant is noted for mother. Mother means
Hostini.
Mother. Hosti and Hostini.
Yeah, those are the two words.
and
Hostini.
Okay.
what do you call that? The protruding
Tusk.
spelling?
T-U-S-K, tusk.
T-U-S-K.
So it is very ferocious. So you must know that if you go to forest and observe the natural setting of the elephants, there is only one with a tusk elephant. He is everything. He is a husband. There will be 100 she elephants.
Oh, that's no, you know.
And only one tusk elephant would be there. He will not allow another one to come there. And he is the ruler. And all the she elephants would follow. That's it. And he was to be born like that. Well, a man of great spiritual stature and great devotion was to be born as an elephant. Of course, he was born, and just as any other elephant would behave, he was behaving that way, moving around the forest, all the herd following him. Majestically was going everywhere, nobody to challenge him. So he had his full display of ego, full, maximum. And then came the final days of crushing the ego. So the elephants, all the animals during evening time, they go to riverside to drink water. So like that, this elephant also, along with the group, went to drink water. Unfortunately, there was one crocodile at that time. And that crocodile was hunger, was starving. As soon as he saw some animal entering into waters, he was so happy. At last he got. He simply grabbed the leg, one leg of the elephant. And it began to drag more and more into the water. In the water, crocodile is extremely powerful. Nobody can challenge the crocodile in the water. You can challenge only when it is on the ground, not when it is inside the water. It's terrible. And this elephant thought, by his ego, he can crush what is this small animal. So he began to throw up his leg vehemently to get released from the grip. The more he throws, the more it would drag him into the water. So it was continuous tug of war between the elephant and the crocodile. And crocodile was showing the signs of victory, and the elephant is becoming more and more weak, terribly weak, and all the elephants, the she elephants, they were all standing on the bank and shedding tears. What happened to our Lord? He's not able to come out of the waters. And just they were all sad, very sad. And this elephant, under the grip of the crocodile, was almost exhausted and was about to lose his life. At that point of time, still he is alive because of his past meritorious worship, devotion. And just at that point of time, he got the memory of the previous life. He immediately thought, oh, I am not this elephant. I was such and such a person doing worship of Lord Vishnu. And why it happened, all this, the whole story came on his mind screen. Immediately, because of the past samskaras, immediately began to pray